when Kara Icahn bought out the Taj Mahal to pay for play with his gas refinery business, and they put in Rex Tillerson. That's why Trump undermined and got away from the Paris Accords and tried to undermine Germany for their pipelines flooding energy into Germany because they didn't want Germany to supply Europe with Russian energy. They wanted that right to belong to Trump and Exxon and BP through the Ukrainian pipelines to flood Russian energy into Europe. And so that's why Trump and Farage got behind Trump for the Brexit movement. And when Putin invaded Ukraine for the second time, it was BP and Exxon that were stuck at the hips in the Russian Arctic. And so you gotta understand the Tories and people like Farage, they remember about World War II how Hitler uh, bl- blitzkrieg bombarded Britain and tried to destroy Britain. They remember they got the remorse for Germany because of that. That remorse hasn't gone away. Britain and the Conservative parties feel remorse and disgust at World War II. And so they don't like to be considered weaker than Germany economically. Britain doesn't like to be considered weaker than Germany economically. They don't want to play second fiddle to Germany when it comes to the European Union. That's why they broke away from the European Union with the Farage and Trump movement in 2016. So, but but then again, Britain wants to be considered part of NATO. It's like they want the cake and eat it too. They want to dissolve themselves from the union because of for the love of money. They're willing to abandon a union, the European Union. So they basically turncoats for the love of money. But then they're too scared to be out on their own, so they still want to be under the umbrella of NATO, which is to me, it's like they want the cake and eat it too, and they're trying to have it both ways. And so you understand that Queen Elizabeth, her uncle, married her to her husband because her husband was Germany's royal family. So his bloodline was the royal family of Germany. And so Queen Elizabeth's uncle uh, got them to meet each other and to fall in love with each other. And Queen Elizabeth's marriage symbolized the unity uh, of Germany and Britain rising up right after World War II. It was a symbolism of uniting Europe. That was what her marriage symbolized. That's what her uncle had in mind when he uh, introduced them to each other. It was because he wanted to have a symbolism between the royal family of Britain and the royal family of Germany for them to rise up from the ruins of World War II and to unite. That's why I'm so against the Brexit movement. It shows that Britain, people like Farage, are, for the love of greed, they're willing to sell out a union and betray the union. And to me, it tarnished the symbolism of what Queen Elizabeth's uncle had in mind when he introduced uh, Queen Elizabeth to her husband for them to marry right after the ruins of World War II. It was to unite Europe, not to divide it. That's what her marriage symbolized. And so, for Farage and people like Snake Oil's Farage and Trump to undermine the European Union uh, for the love of oil, because Trump wants to monopolize to flood Europe with Exxon having venture deals of pipelines and fracking in the Russian Arctic to pump gas into Europe. They were willing to undermine Angela Merkel and alienate France for the Paris Accords because Trump wants to control the flow of energy into Europe and the flow of energy into India and the flow of energy into China with these pipelines and Exxon board members controlling the flow of Russian gas into these regions. Trump is the biggest snake soils con artist that you will ever meet in life. And so I'm so disappointed with the Brexit fiasco. Is to me is you don't sell out a union for the love of money. You don't betray a union for greed. And for me, it's really appalling. What was going on with Farage and Trump. And like I said, yes, the Tories and the Britain Conservative parties, they feel some type of remorse, or Britons, they feel some type of remorse of of Germany. They're yet jealous, if you will, of Germany being the most richest economy in the European Union. So they don't want to play second fiddle to Germany within that union. Britain wants to be co-equal with Germany and not playing second fiddle and not feeling like they're in back of the line. So for those sentiments, Britain Brexit themselves from the European Union. That's what the Tories and the Brexit movement is all about. Is feeling disdain and despite towards Germany because of uh, of 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 it's like they feel, what's the word I'm looking for? They feel some type of, they feel despite uh, economically because, like I said, they don't want to. The Brexit movement and the politicians for Brexit, they remember World War II. They remember uh, the Hitler and how Hitler almost toppled Britain, and so there was a lot of remorse and resentment from Britain towards Germany. Even when the European Union was being united, there's always been that remorse in Britain towards Germany. And in contemporary times, now that Germany is the richest European Union member, the Conservative Party and the Britons, near citizens, feel some type of way uh, inferior to Germany. And that makes them uh, envious of Germany. And that's what's really in the grassroots of this Brexit movement. And to me, it's missing the whole picture. The symbolism of European Union is the opposite. It's for y'all to unite and work out your differences as a union, not to sell it out for the love of money. And like I say, Queen Elizabeth and her husband was the symbolism of that union. At least that's what Queen Elizabeth's uncle had in mind when he had them meet and fall in love with each other, and eventually they married. But it was the symbolism of a Queen Elizabeth husband and her to, for that union. So when people like Flaky Farage undermines the union and Brexit, and like I said, Britain now they want to have the cake and eat it too. They broke out of the union because of their economic uh, spite of they, they they broke out the union because of their envy towards the eurozone currency being controlled by Germany. And to me, uh, it's rooted in the the animosity right after World War II between Britain and Germany. And so uh, the Brexit movement is just a backwarded uh, thing that should have never happened. It should have never happened. Look at America after 2008 with our real estate collapse. Did we break our union up for the love of money? No, we worked it out. There was never, not once, after 2008, the real estate collapse, there was not, in America, not once did we raise up the question of annexing our unions because of the economy. Not once in America did we consider breaking up our union for the love of greed or for the love of money. So that should be a lesson for the Tories and Farage to understand that a union, you don't settle out for greed, for the love of money. And then Britain wants to be considered part of NATO because they're too afraid to not be under the umbrella protection of the European Union. It's like they want the cake and eat it too, and it doesn't work for me. People like Farage and Brexiteers, it doesn't work for me. I'm disgusted with the situation. And so Trump uh, was lining up with Farage. I don't know if Farage has interest with BP, but BP and Exxon were both in the Russian Arctic. Trump was trying to undermine Angela Merkel's Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2, because they didn't want Germany to control the flood of gas from Russia, the Russian Arctic, and to supply Europe with it. In other words, they didn't, Farage and Trump didn't want Germany to control the heart of natural gas flowing into Germany, into Europe, because they perceived that Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2 can start pumping energy into the rest of Europe. So they didn't want that to happen because Trump wanted to monopolize it. He wanted to monopolize it with Rex Tillerson. He wanted Rex Tillerson or Exxon board members to control the flow of energy into Western Europe, India, and China through pipelines and through fracking in the Russian Arctic between BP and Exxon. So that's why Trump was undermining the Paris Accords with the French president. It wasn't the tariff wars of Trump in Germany and France wasn't because of Trump used to say it was the French cheese and their wines and Germany's automobile industries. But that was bullshit. It was because of the Paris Accords and because of Nord Stream 2, Nord Stream 1. And so this whole fiasco with Trump and Farage, Steve Bannon was insinuating in 2016 that other countries in the European Union should break themselves off from the Union. And that Steve Bannon was advising Trump that it would be a good thing for the Eurozone currency to be dissolved. And so Trump was plotting on these type of initiatives only to damage the Union, to weaken the Union, and then to make the Union dependent on the energy flows by Exxon flowing into Europe. And Trump's true agenda was to undermine Germany and France, to pull out of the Paris Accords, to prevent Germany from using their pipelines, and to allow Exxon to control the rights through the Ukrainian pipeline to flood energy into the Western Europe hemisphere. And so people like Farage seen that as an opportunity for Britain to overtake Germany in that region economically by doing this with Trump. And so for this type of tactics is basically destroying the European Union from the inside out. That's why I was investigating Trump in Europe and finding out what he was up to when it came up to his oil endeavors in the European region. I was investigating and trying to connect the dots for the FBI when it came to Trump and the corruption between his snake oil's handlers, whether it be Car Icon or Rex Tillerson at the time. So this tactic that Trump did now is destroying Europe. It's basically destroying Europe. Now you got people like the Italian president that was wined and dined by Steve Bannon to spread fascism in Italy. Steve Bannon went to Italy with his build a wall money to wine and dine this leader to pay for his hotel fees, to pay for his wining and dining and his transportation. He used all that money to go to Europe and to spread fascism with this president that's been voted into office she belongs to this brotherhood, a fascist party that originated from Mussolini. And then you got President Orbán from Hungary. And they believe in this Trump movement because of migrations. They don't like North Arabs and Africans migrating into Italy and into Europe. So that's why they like Trump, because of immigration xenophobia. And so there's the beginning of a fracturing of the European Union. And Trump was a big catalyst of these type of movements. He was a catalyst of these type of movements. And it's fracturing Europe. It's fracturing Europe. And I just don't like Trump type of fascism. I just despise it.